Indy 58, Pitt 7, and I guess Vegas must have known something because they picked the Irish to win big here today, a 20.5 point favorite. Everybody thought that was a little much, but the Irish did that and a whole lot more. For Fighting Irish Preview and fightingirishpreview.com, I'm Phil Houck with the happy wrap from Notre Dame Stadium. Audric Estime post-game, I thought, summed it up well. And it kind of makes you maybe even a little sad for some missed opportunities, and particularly in the Ohio State game earlier this year, about just how good this team could be. As Estime said, when we play as one unit, we feel we're the best team in the country. And there's a lot of weapons on this Notre Dame football team. And when they put it together, they're capable of dominating performances like they had here tonight. Because all phases, offense, defense, special teams, contributed today in a big way. Pregame, we had talked in my video about two big factors to keep an eye on today. One was turnovers, and two was how the Notre Dame wide receiver room performed. So let's review just how those things went today. First, turnovers. First quarter, it was looking bad. Sam Hartman in the first 10 minutes of the game threw two interceptions, and the Irish are suddenly -2. Fortunately, Pitt's offense was not able to capitalize on those two interceptions and score points, but the Irish were not looking good in the turnover war. Well, that turned around in a real hurry because Notre Dame ended up picking off 4 of their own passes today. So they had 4 interceptions and also had there was a fumbled punt that was recovered for a touchdown. So turnovers, the Irish overall were +3 in this ball game. That's really good. Including you had Jaden Mickey had a pick 6. Xavier Watts had 2 of those interceptions, 2 of those 4 interceptions. Xavier Watts now leads the nation in interceptions. He has 4 in the last 2 games. He had 2 a couple weeks ago against USC and 2 more today. As somebody commented post-game, he's just kind of like been a ball magnet. Jaden Mickey, or I should say Xavier Watts, may be playing himself into an early exit to the NFL. He's been that good. And the second factor we talked about pregame was the wide receivers. They needed to step up. They have not performed particularly well the last 4 games, due in part to injury and some pretty good defenses. But the wide receiver room performed really well today. They combined for 11 catches for 233 yards. Those are really good numbers out of that wide receiver room. And Chris Tyree particularly came up big, the converted running back. He had 3 catches for 62 yards, but you also got to add perhaps the biggest play of the game, and the one that really got momentum going in the Irish's direction, an 82-yard punt return. Those were the first points scored on the night. He had that punt return in the first quarter. It was kind of interesting. Post game, he was asked, just how did you do it? How did you return? What was that play like? And he said his simple answer to that question about that punt return, that is spectacular play by him, was don't think, just run. So he's now scored 4 different ways for the Irish. Punt return, he had a kickoff return a couple of years ago, and he's also scored running the ball and receiving the ball. So that's spectacular. A couple of injury concerns here tonight. First of all, Ben Morrison, the potential All-American cornerback, was a late scratch, did not play here tonight. He apparently had injured his quad earlier in the week and was not able to go tonight. He was scratched right before game time. And also a couple of injuries during the game, and we just don't know much about those. And Marcus Freeman did not have anything for us on either of these injuries post-game. But apparently Cam Hart tweaked something. He went out and at some point, and we're not even sure when he went out of the game, but it was noticed in the second half that he wasn't on the field. And then Mitchell Evans went down in the third quarter with what appeared to be a painful lower body injury. But indications are that this was not a knee. It may hopefully have been just like a thigh bruise, something of that nature. It looked like it was probably painful for him. He did not come back into the game. So those injuries are something that the Irish are going to need to keep an eye on. Mitchell Evans was having another big night. He was, he was the leading receiver for the Irish here tonight with 5 catches. Notre Dame totaled 535 yards of total offense. And when you do that and you combine that with the fact that you had a pick 6 and a fumble recovery in the end zone, so 2 defensive touchdowns plus a special teams touchdown. So 3 touchdowns were scored not by your offense, but still your offense totaled 535 yards. That's big. That 535, by the way, included the entire fourth quarter having been played by backup quarterback Steve Angeli. He got some great experience. That's good news. He was 6 of 7, 92 yards, and he threw his first ever touchdown pass in a Notre Dame uniform. Sam Hartman's numbers, 18 of 25, 288 yards. That's good. That's good. But he did throw 2 interceptions and no touchdown passes here tonight. But 18 of 25, those are solid numbers. And it was, of course, another big night for Audric Estime. 19 carries, 114 yards. He also caught 2 passes for, I think, 16 yards, 2 for 16. So 114 yards on the ground and scored 3 touchdowns. Notre Dame's defense here tonight continued its suffocating act. Their performance has just been outstanding, particularly the last couple of weeks, holding Pitt to just 7 points, and Pitt had just 255 yards of total offense. So that defense just continues to play exceptionally well. Kudos to all the members of that defense, and kudos to what Al Golden is accomplishing in his second year as the Notre Dame defensive coordinator. So the Irish go to 7-2, and next week it's down to Clemson for Notre Dame's first road test since that loss to Louisville 3 weeks ago. Clemson now saw their record fall to 4-4 today with another loss. They lost to North Carolina State today, 24-17. But don't kid yourself. Clemson's going to be a challenge next week. They're a solid team at all phases of the game, and they are at home. And they are something like 62-3 in the last 12 years at home. That's good. It'll be a hostile atmosphere, a real test for the Irish. By the way, we were informed right after the game that kickoff is going to be at noon next week from Clemson, and the game will be on ABC. So for Fighting Irish Preview and FightingIrishPreview.com, I'm Phil Houck, and a happy final from Notre Dame Stadium tonight. Notre Dame 58. Is that right? Is that right? And yeah, that's right. And Pitt 7, 58-7, and that's a happy wrap.